Hello everyone and welcome back to another Star Wars Battlefront 2 mods video. And today we are covering another brand new hero that has finally made his way into the Battlefront. Well, not finally I guess, as this mod has been out for quite a while now, and I'm just now getting around to giving it the full showcase that it truly deserves. And considering you already clicked on this video, you know exactly who this hero is. Djarin, or otherwise known as the Mandalorian. Since the end of the sequel trilogy, the Mandalorian has pretty much become the face of Star Wars. I mean, it's really hard to go almost anywhere in public and not see Mando or Grogu. And it's because of this that I'm so surprised we never saw this character make his way into the Battlefront. As aside from Ahsoka Tano, he was probably the most requested hero of all time for this game. But nonetheless, we finally have him here in modded form, created by some of the best mod authors in the Battlefront community. And the end result is honestly everything we as fans could have hoped for when this icon made his way into Battlefront 2. And before we go into further detail about the Mandalorian himself, please consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel if you end up enjoying this mod review. So starting off with the basics, Djarin comes in as a light side hero for the original trilogy. Even though he's technically from a sequel show, we do see him interact with quite a few characters from the original trilogy, and it's only set a few years after the fact, so putting him in with the original trilogy crew works for me. He has 700 health, making him pretty tanky for a blaster hero, which reflects the near impenetrable Beskar armor that he always wears. His main weapon is the IB-9 blaster pistol we see him use throughout the show, and I'm a big fan of this new blaster. Although it has a rather slow fire rate, it deals massive damage to any and all enemies. He can one-shot almost any infantry with just one headshot, and can kill any reinforcement or hero in seconds if you keep hitting those consecutive headshots. It feels like a bit of a mix of Han's DL-44 and Greedo's DT-9 from the last Battlefront game. And for his one and only appearance, we get him in the full Beskar armor from head to toe, with the jetpack strapped on and the cape draped over the side of the jetpack. And this model is just absolutely beautiful to stare at, and honestly makes the mod a 10 out of 10 on its own. I really love the way the cape looks and how clean and shiny that Beskar is. Just amazing detail, and it's extremely accurate as well. And now for our first ability, we have the Ambin Phase Pulse Blaster. This ability allows Mando to pull out his Pulse Blaster for a short time and deal some crazy damage, one-shotting any infantry and making a huge dent in any other enemy's health. You're able to fire off 2 shots before it goes back into cooldown, but you want to get both shots off quick, as each shot will drain the timer. So if you wait too long, you'll only be able to get one shot in. And you want to make sure you hit your mark, as nothing is worse than whiffing both of your shots and waiting for it to be ready again, as getting kills with this weapon is so satisfying. It just feels powerful like we see it in the show. It comes with a very accurate model just like the armor, and is really a no-brainer ability for Mando, as this rifle has some of the most badass moments in the show. I do wish we were able to zoom in more with the scope to make longer range shots a bit easier, as it is kind of a sniper rifle in its own way, but you still get some crazy range with it if you're accurate. His next ability is probably the least unique and most standard ability of the bunch, and it's the Thermal Vision, where Din will use his helmet scan ability to reveal heat signatures nearby to him. And there's not really much else to say about this ability. We've seen it before and it works great here, and it makes sense for Mando to have it, as we know that the Mandalorian helmets are capable of a lot more than just looking cool. However, I do wish we got another ability in its place, as Mando has a lot of tools at his disposal. The most obvious one for me would be to give him a jetpack ability, as we see the jetpack sitting right there on his back, but we can't use it. And the light side would finally have their own jetpack user to counter Boba Fett. However, Mando does already have a lot of health and deals a lot of damage between his pistol and his pulse rifle, so I could see how giving him a jetpack would make him pretty overpowered, so I definitely see the logic in giving him a more nerfed ability. Ability number 3 is another iconic weapon we see Mando use throughout the show, and it's the Whistling Birds. After using this ability, Mando will fire a barrage of small Beskar projectiles from his wrist, just like in the show. And those projectiles will lock onto nearby enemies and deal damage to them. And this is my favorite ability and my least favorite ability at the same time. The animation is really cool, and seeing the small Beskar darts whipping around the air as you fend off waves of stormtroopers just looks so cool and feels like a scene right out of the show. However, it rarely works. More than half the time, I feel like the darts just don't connect to anyone at all, and if they do, I can't really tell as they don't do much damage. I've found that the best way to use this ability is when you have infantry units in front of you who are all kind of low on health, and you can just use this ability to mop them up. However, it's honestly quicker to just shoot them, as the darts spend a little time in the air before they even connect, if they do at all. For me, it's a very situational ability, and it's almost useless in Heroes vs Villains. However, it is working much better now than it was in previous versions, where for me they literally never hit anything. But now they can be useful to clean up some low health infantry from time to time. And although I'm kind of digging into this ability, I don't want to come across as calling the mod authors incompetent in any way at all, as this is a very unique ability, and it's unlike anything we've ever seen before. So the fact that this even works this well at all is very impressive, and will no doubt take a lot of time to perfect. And it's important to remember these guys do this stuff for free on their own time, and I think we've seen DICE put out way more broken and buggy content than this with a multi-million-dollar game studio backing them up. And finally now for Mando's final ability, we have the Darksaber, and this ability is just awesome. Djarin's melee attacks will have him pulling out the Darksaber to make a few swings, and this is just so satisfying to use, to hear, and to look at. The model and sound for the Darksaber are ripped straight from the show. The melee attacks are pretty much the same as Phasma's staff strikes, however, here there isn't really much of a cooldown. You can hit off 2 or 3 strikes, and then you just have to wait for the animation to reset, with a slight delay in between the swings. And I think the animations translate very well to the Darksaber, as it is kind of a slow attack but deals really good damage, just like how we see him use it in the Book of Boba Fett. When Mando is wielding the Darksaber, it is extremely heavy and quite dangerous to both the user and the enemies who face it. But I really love this ability. It's so much fun to use to wipe out stormtroopers, and can even be used to hold your own for a moment in a lightsaber duel. I even use this ability to take out Darth Vader during a match of Heroes vs Villains. And if I recall correctly, this mod used to have the same ability, but it was with the Beskar staff. But now after Book of Boba Fett, the Beskar staff has been melted down into armor for Grogu, leaving Din to learn how to master the Darksaber. And I just really like how as this character has grown and changed, we've seen this mod reflect those changes, which just shows the true dedication and love that these mod authors have for the characters and this universe. Overall, this mod is one of the most accurate and faithful representations of a Star Wars character I have ever seen with all of these new hero mods. From the look, to the sound, to the abilities, to the gameplay, this mod brings the Mandalorian at his best into the Battlefront, and features some very detailed and dedicated work, and I'm just very impressed. The hero blends into the game so well, and you would think he's been here since day one. The modding community continues to impress and surpass my expectations every time. If you have Battlefront 2 on the PC, go download this mod right now and enjoy. So with all that covered, we are going to end the video here. If you've enjoyed the video, please leave a thumbs up and a comment, as it really helps out the channel grow. And if you want to see more Star Wars gaming content just like this, subscribe to the channel to know whenever I drop a new video. Thanks for watching, and happy modding, my friends.